Quit worrying about something that's not going to happen. Quit losing sleep over something that's just in your mind. That's the enemy trying to torment you, try to convince you to live stressed out, worried. He knows he can't bring it to pass. He doesn't have that authority. So the next best thing he'll do is try to deceive you into believing that it's a reality so you don't enjoy your life. Don't fall into that trap. Guard your mind.
There's enough in my past to be ashamed of. Some decisions I wish I hadn't made. Some stuff I wish I could go back and fix. Some things I wish I could unsay. Some words I wish I could put back in my mouth. Some actions I wish I had never taken, but they're in my past. And I'm not going to let you hold up my past as a mirror when God wants me to use it as a window.
When the enemy puts you under pressure, he thinks that's going to stop you. What he doesn't realize is all that's going to do is cause you to shoot out further. When you feel restricted, don't be discouraged. Get ready to shoot out. Get ready for new levels. That pressure is not going to stop you. It's going to increase you.
My past is not to be held up as a mirror to remind me of what I used to be, but it's a window for me to look back through and say, I ain't going back that way no more.
Whatever you repeat, you reinforce. Maybe you're in a situation right now, you're like, I hate where I am. The problem in my life is where I am. I hate my relationships. I hate the way I feel. I hate where I am. And what begins to happen to us is we start to think the problem is where we are. But your problem is not where you are. Your problem is where are you headed?
The truth is, we grow in the difficult times. That's when our character is developed. That's when we discover talent, confidence, courage that we didn't even know we had.
Trying to encourage you tonight that every gap in my life is giving me hope that I am still becoming, that I am not done growing yet, that the story is not over. Anybody thankful that you haven't stopped growing? But this year, it doesn't have to look like last year. You can become more.
But you have to do something important. Forgive yourself. Quit dwelling on everything you've done wrong. Quit replaying your failures. Quit reliving your mistakes.
Devote yourself to something bigger. Be decisive about what you're going to do. Say, I'm going to do it, and that's it. And then be disciplined about getting it done every single day, whether you feel like it or not.
So this morning, if your life were a song, what would be its title? Many of us have been through so much, and we come out smiling on the other side. Our title might be Singing in the Rain. Some of us have a strong determination to trust God no matter what. Our title might be Blessed Assurance. Some of us have done enough to be in jail right now or dead and in hell, but God saved us. Our title might be Amazing Grace. But whoever you are, whatever you've done, however far you think your life has spun out of control, you may not be a hit in the eyes of this world. But if you love God, if you trust God, He will take you to a deeper life.
It works if you work it. Decide that you're going to start working on that dream. Now, there will be people that will criticize you. There will be people that won't see it for you. But I say to you, don't let them turn you around. Don't let nobody turn you around. That's key, because people will try and turn you around. That's real.
Every hero you guys had was called an idiot, crazy, a loser. You must break society's status quo. Status quo is normality. It's alive but not living. It's death on a stick, guys. The belief of the individual can overcome thousands of followers. One person with a belief overrides thousands of people with just intent.
Can actually change the direction of your life. Life is not designed where you just wake up and see how it go and you react. You actually have a say-so. You have a determining voice into where your life can go. See, life is 10% what happens to you. It's 90% what you do about it. See, you get tripped out because you got dirt on you, but you need dirt on you to develop, because dirt ain't just dirt. Dirt is fertilizer. Dirt gives you the strength for your seed to push through. See, you got to have dirt on you to push through something.
Safety, comfort zones are dead zones because your true potential will never be matched, guys.
See, you get mad when haters come your way. You get mad because you get a setback. You get mad because you get a detour. That's just dirt. You get mad because they talking about you. That's dirt. You got to have dirt on you to grow into what God got for you. Quit tripping.
Where the mind goes, the man follows. If you don't like your life, go home, have a meeting with yourself, and think about what you have been thinking about. Instead of blaming it on everything else, have a meeting with yourself and just ask yourself if it's time for you to get rid of your stinking thinking. Amen.
Life goes on. You have to keep living. Life goes on. I've watched people allow a failure in their life, then produce fear in them. Fear is not just an emotion. Fear is a spirit. When a person has a spirit of fear, they're scared of everything. They're scared of the dark. They're scared to be alone. They just have unreasonable, ungrounded fears. That spirit of fear will paralyze your life. It'll stop your movement, and you're designed to keep it moving.
Be ready for tomorrow by doing all that you can today. Set a goal that will make you stretch for what it will make of you to achieve it. What an all-encompassing challenge to have a better vision of the future, to see what it will make of you to achieve it. The greatest value in life is not what you get. The greatest value in life is what you become. It's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become that makes you valuable. Set the kind of goals that will make something of you to achieve them. So there you have the two components of positive self-direction. Self-knowledge, knowing who you are and what you want to do with your life. And number two, self-preparation, getting ready for the opportunities before they come your way. Being ready, being worthy, becoming the person you need to be in pursuit of what you want.
Do as much planning as you can. Dig in and plan every detail that you can plan. The most important part of a plan, the thing that makes a plan the most effective, is its flexibility. And making a plan that is so flexible that when you do the actual operation and you come up against unexpected things, which are absolutely going to happen, you have the flexibility, you have options, you have contingency plans to deal with.
Most people, in order to feel significant, make things really complex so they feel like they're really unique and special. But complexity is the enemy of execution. The more complex you make it, the more likely you are not going to follow through.
So plan as much as you can, but the problem is, with all that emphasis on planning, sometimes people become obsessed with planning and they don't want to execute. Mm-hmm. And if they do execute, they execute late. They miss their opportunity. That's why Patton said a good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week. Come up with a good plan. Don't come up with a perfect plan that takes you 2 weeks to come up with. That's not going to help you.
It's you first. It starts with you, and it starts with your psychology. 80% of growing a business, if you look at what the chokehold is on a business, it's always the leader. And 80% of that chokehold is the psychology, and 20% is the mechanics. I mean, people in this room know the mechanics and strategies beyond what anybody on earth knows in their category. So it's really about you being in the state where you execute. Execution trumps knowledge every day of the week. And so my life is, how do you get yourself to execute? And execution comes from learning to put yourself in that right state every day.
Where you have so much joy, you bring joy everywhere you go. You have so many resources that you can help those around you. You may not have seen this yet, but God is about to do a new thing. You need to get ready. Overflow is coming. You're going to overflow with creativity, with ideas, with talent. Overflow with influence, promotion, resources, where you can come out of debt, where you can lend and not have to borrow. And things may not be flowing in your life right now, but God knows where all the treasures are. He knows how to put you at the right place at the right time. He knows not only what you need, but He knows when you're going to need it. Don't discount small opportunities, small gifts, small income. May seem small to you, but God knows how to multiply.
Let's cut the fluff. Most of you watching this are asleep. You think you're awake because you're busy. You go through the motions, check the boxes, and convince yourself that someday you'll have the life you want. But let me tell you something. You're lying to yourself. The truth is brutal, but here it is. You're not losing because of a lack of talent, intelligence, or luck. You're losing because you're soft. Because every single day, you choose comfort over discipline. Right now, someone out there is grinding harder than you. They're doing the work you avoid. They're building the skills you ignore. They're turning the dreams you only talk about into reality. And while you're making excuses, they're making progress. This world doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your potential. It cares about what you do. If you're not willing to outwork the man who lives to work, don't expect to win. This isn't just a wake-up call. It's a challenge. Do you have the guts to face yourself and admit that you're not doing enough? Because until you do, nothing will change. Here's the first hard truth. You are where you deserve to be. If you're broke, struggling, or stuck, it's because of the choices you've made. I know that stings, but until you take responsibility, you'll stay exactly where you are. The second truth, there's no such thing as good enough. The moment you settle, you lose. The moment you say, this is fine, someone hungrier, tougher, and more focused will take what you left on the table. And here's the third truth. No one is coming to save you. Stop waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect timing, or someone to open a door for you. The only person who can change your life is you. You want to succeed? Then stop complaining about how hard it is. Life's hard for everyone. What separates the winners from the losers is how they respond. Winners take the pain and turn it into power. Losers let it break them. So ask yourself, are you fighting for your future or are you just surviving? Because if you're not fighting, you're already losing. Let's talk about why most people fail. It's not because they lack talent. It's not even because they're lazy. It's because they can't handle the truth about themselves. Most people spend their lives running from failure, from discomfort, and most importantly, from responsibility. They blame their circumstances, their upbringing, or other people. They hide behind distractions like Netflix, social media, or endless planning instead of doing. But here's what you need to understand. Everything you want is on the other side of pain. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. Success doesn't come from wishing for it. It comes from sacrificing for it. Think about this. Every time you hit snooze, skip a workout, or procrastinate, you're building a habit. And that habit is teaching your brain that it's okay to quit. The more you quit, the easier it gets. And before you know it, quitting becomes your default setting. You want to know why you're failing? Look at your habits. Look at how you spend your time. Look at the excuses you make. That's where failure starts. But here's the good news. If failure is a choice, so is success. You can flip the script anytime you want, but it starts with owning your actions. No one else can do that for you. Let me make this simple. Winning is a game of consistency, not perfection. Stop waiting to feel ready, inspired, or motivated. Those feelings are fleeting. What lasts is discipline. Here's the formula. 1. Commit. Decide right now that you're done with excuses. Burn the bridges to your old habits and make a plan that scares you. If it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. 2. Simplify. Cut the nonsense from your life. If it doesn't move you closer to your goals, it's a distraction. 3. Outwork everyone. Don't just show up. Show up early. Stay late. Put in the hours that others won't. Success doesn't care how you feel. It only cares about what you produce. 4. Fail forward. Stop being afraid of mistakes. Every failure is a lesson. Every setback is an opportunity to grow. You don't need luck. You don't need talent. What you need is grit, the willingness to do the work, day after day, when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, and when nothing seems to be working. That's how you win. Listen to me. The life you want is not waiting for you. It's not sitting there, ready to fall into your lap. You have to go out and take it. But here's the thing. Most people don't realize time is running out. Every second you waste is a second you'll never get back. Every day you put off the work is a day someone else pulls ahead. Stop pretending you have all the time in the world. You don't. The clock is ticking, and the only question is, are you going to take action, or are you going to let it slip away? This is your moment. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now.
The absence of purpose, we will start digging holes in our life. Any vice will lead to self-destruction, holes in your life. And so people who think like, no, I'm a human being. I'm like, no, bro, you're a human animal. You're a human animal until you get to a point of self-awareness and consciousness where literally these eyes, which is just a window that you're experiencing life through, and you can respond and not react.
The majority says if you go through heartbreak, if you're on your knees because your life is falling apart, rush out as quickly as possible. What I've discovered is stay in as long as possible, because difficulty is growth in wolf's clothing. The greatest people on the planet have suffered the most. Suffering is not bad. I'm suggesting suffering is awesome. The ego runs from suffering because it's the death of the ego. But I believe pain, difficult times, failure, loss is purification and preparation for personal heroism.
We're trying so hard in our lives to fit in. Yet the people we idolize are the ones that stand out.
How do you stop making excuses? You have to accept that all your excuses are lies. They are lies, all of them. Think about the things that you tell yourself, the lies you use to rationalize taking the easy road, leaving discipline behind. You don't have time. That's a lie. You're too busy. Sure you are. That's a lie. But the truth is, you have time. You have the skill. You have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done. Cast out the lies. Burn them down. And listen to the truth. And live the truth. And go out and get it done.
You got to get real doggish. You got to get downright funky if you want to make it. Now, like I was telling you before, if you want to be ordinary, you ain't even got to listen to me. Just go on about your business.
Every challenge that you are facing. It belongs to your journey. It is part of your journey. And to acknowledge, to accept whatever life is throwing at you, and still have on the mind that this is like just a test. This is how I used to think for myself. Yeah, I never begged for an easy life. But when challenges are coming right now, and especially when you then realize if you want, you can overcome them.
See, the point is, you don't know how much future you've got. What's gone is gone. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Some of you have had divorces. Some of you have probably had bankruptcies. Some of you have had terrible things happen in the past. But what's gone is gone. It's in the past. And to spend your time focusing on the past is to spend the only thing that you've got, and that's what's right here, right now, because the sand never stops running. This is all we've got. And to spend your time now thinking of what happened there is making absolute certain that the future is going to be the same as the past.
The bigger issue with fine is that you say it to yourself. That thing that you want, I guarantee you, you've convinced yourself that you're fine not having it. That's why you're not pushing yourself. It's the areas in your life where you've given up, where you've said, oh, I'm fine.
There are some things in life that are out of your control that you can't change and you got to live with. The choice that we have, though, is either to give up or keep on going. I want to ask you, what are you going to believe? Are you going to believe in yourself? Are you going to believe everybody else's judgment on you? Are you going to believe people when they say that you're a failure?
If you think ordinary's cool, ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're going to have to do extra.
1 plus 1 is always going to equal 2. 2 plus 2 is going to equal 4. And 10 years of motherfucking work when everybody else is partying, making excuses, doing the cool thing on the weekend is going to pay off.
So I always ask people and challenge people, like when you say something to the extent of, not you, but just a person, I'll get to it tomorrow. I'm like, who promised you that? Right? I'll get to it a month from now. I'm like, who promised you that? Right? Because life changes so quick, right? And as people, we're often arrogant. I was one of them. We live our lives and we feel as if we're promised something, right? But when you think about it, it's like when we try to control things. But when you really think about the macro of life and the grand scheme of life, we really don't have any control. But just life in general, we have no control of that.
You're not afraid of having a body. You're afraid of effort. See, what you don't understand is this. We're all being tested. And that road to success is a bumpy-ass road. Has the potholes, nails, detours and shit. A lot of you are going to die with a nicely preserved body. No bruises, no scars. You also have an empty resume. Stay hard.
With that motivation, go forward into the heat of the battle where victory is forged.
You can't be comfortable with yourself if you don't know who yourself is. And you can't know who yourself is if you don't stop looking at how everybody around you is and start looking at what makes you comfortable and what makes you uniquely you. There's roughly close to, I guess, about 8 billion people on this planet, but there's only one you.
That you're in the right place, doing the right thing at the right time. And everyone wants that all the time. Like images of paradise are representations of that state of being. So it's there for you, but there are preconditions that you strive to aim at the best. And that has to be your fundamental ethos. And it's a decision that despite all of the calamities of being, that your primary ethical obligation is to work for the betterment of yourself and others.
The fact is, death is inescapable. There is no way out. And death is part of life. And like the contrast between the darkness and the light, without death, then there is no life. And the people that I've lost, they taught me that. They taught me how precious life is, how blessed we are to have every day to learn and to grow and to laugh and to live.
You've got to dream. Don't lose your dreams for yourself, for your future, for your family. The dreams of love and enterprise and travel and doing things, becoming something unique on your journey here. Don't lose your dreams. Do some dreaming.
You'll not find confidence in yourself if you don't know who yourself is. You won't find confidence in yourself if you're so busy trying to figure out what everybody around you thinks you ought to be and then match that, because you're not going to make people around you happy. You're not going to. Okay? So you need to be you.
To live every day with purpose and with passion. To wake up in the morning and be thankful. Thankful for that morning and thankful for the opportunity to go out into the world and live. To live for them. For those that don't have the opportunity, for those that were stolen away by death's cruel hand.
So what is possible and what is not possible is not your business. That is nature's business. Nature will decide that. You just see what is it that you really want and strive for that. And if your thought is created in a powerful way, without any negativity, without any negative thoughts bringing down the intensity of the thought process, the first and foremost thing is you must be clear what is it that you really want. If you do not know what you want, the question of creating it doesn't arise. If you look at what you really want, what every human being wants is, he wants to live joyfully, he wants to live peacefully. In terms of its relationships, he wants it to be loving and affectionate. Or in other words, all that any human being is seeking for is pleasantness within himself, pleasantness around him.
But let's not dwell. Instead, let's laugh and let's love and let's embrace and cherish everything that life is and every opportunity it gives us. Live.
It's your unlimited desires that are clouding your peace, your happiness. Every desire you have is an axis where you will suffer. So just don't focus on more than one desire at a time. The universe is rigged in such a way that if you just want one thing and you focus on that, you'll get it. But everything else, you gotta let go.
That life is meaningless. It was not a flippant assertion. I think it's absurd, the idea of seeking meaning in the set of circumstances that happens to exist after 13.8 billion years worth of unguided events. Leave it to humans to think the universe has a purpose for them. However, I am no nihilist. I'm not even a cynic. I am actually rather romantic. And here's my idea of romance. Life will sometimes seem long and tough, and God, it's tiring. And you will sometimes be happy and sometimes sad, and then you'll be old, and then you'll be dead. There is only one sensible thing to do with this empty existence, and that is fill it. Fill it. And in my opinion, until I change it, life is best filled by learning as much as you can about as much as you can, taking pride in whatever you're doing, having compassion, sharing ideas, running, being enthusiastic. And then there's love and travel and wine and art and kids and giving and mountain climbing. But you know all that stuff already. It's an incredibly exciting thing, this one meaningless life of yours.
The sun doesn't shine every day. The storms will come. There are times when the nights will be long and dark and you will be alone. There will be times when the darkness seems to consume everything. But don't let it consume you. Don't let it consume you.
Suffering is a byproduct of the unknown. And that's why we will project out into the future and go, what if? Because suffering does introduce a man, or discomfort does introduce a man or a woman to their highest self. I call it the other room. Like in your head, in everybody's head, like there's this other place that you can go to. You may have been there before. And this other room, this other place, you get to meet your other self.
The comfort zone is dangerous. When you're comfortable, you are at most dangerous. You should never feel comfortable. You should be happy and dissatisfied. You should never be satisfied with what you got. Because the attempt to get more makes you into something better all the time.
Lazy people do a little work and think they should be winning, but winners work as hard as possible and still worry if they're being lazy.